Alright, everyone. Today we are ranking games 101 through 200. I had such a fun time with my first 100 that I wanted to do it again. This has just been a really interesting trip down memory lane, and it's been kind of cool to see like which games stuck with me the most, and which ones were how do I put this? Which ones didn't stick with me for the long term? Like I would have initially liked it, but maybe now I don't. And true to form from the first one, I'm going to start with the very first game and end with number 200. And everything in between is just going to be a jumble. So, the real trick is finding number 101. Once I find it, I will start talking about it. There it is. So, 101 and my first game after clearing my first 100 was Tattoo Assassins. I believe that game was unreleased. Yeah, it was actually never released. I forgot who I saw clear it. It might have been BBH. The strats look really easy, and the game is pretty bad, but it's short, so it was okay. Overall, though, like it's not really enjoyable to grind. Like I've played it for a couple of 1cc redemptions, and it just kind of feels like the game sometimes just takes the run away from you, and I don't love that. So I think for that reason, I'll just slot it as a C. I don't think much of it. It's not particularly good. I'll stick on jank fighting games for the time being, and I'll stick right with 102, which was best of best. Definitely better than Tattoo Assassins, but overall, like it kind of filled the same hole as a game like Blandia. It is better than Blandia, but it didn't really impress me all that much. So I think I'd still go with it in C. It's not too hard to learn, but it's okay. And then 103, I'm only continuing here because it was all jank fighting games. It's easy to categorize that way. 103 was Time Killers, and I have a little bit of history with Time Killers as my time as a streamer. When I first started doing raffles on RGL, that was a game I actually banned initially early on. Because playing that game without knowing how to play it is really tedious and just not fun at all. There's no other game that really plays like Time Killers. It kind of has... It has mechanics unique to itself, like being able to sever limbs. You can do like one-hit KOs like you could later on in Guilty Gear. But, I don't know. Like, it was just... It didn't... It's not a good game. I mean, it would be silly for anyone to actually call it a good game. If they have nostalgia for it, that's fine. The game's not good. I think we can all be objective about that. The 1cc wasn't that bad. I forgot the name of the character I played. It was the dude from the future. Kind of has a spacesuit on, carries a lightsaber. But yeah, he has a dive kick, and dive kick is really easy to abuse in that game. So I just did jump back dive kick a lot, and it went really far. What is that character's name? Orion, that's his name. There we go. But yeah, Time Killers is pretty shitty. I would put it above Tattoo Assassins and Best of Best in terms of like 1cc pursuits because it has some degree of interest to it, and it has nostalgia for some people. The final boss sucks. That fight is mega garbage. But there's worse games out there. Like I definitely think I've done other 1ccs that just were not even like just had a much smaller enjoyment factor. And Time Killers was average. It doesn't deserve a B though, that's for sure. Where is it? This shit is all jumbled. After these three, I'm definitely doing point and pick. Let's see. Trying to find the poster. It's here somewhere. This could be a drinking game. Drink every 30 seconds, he doesn't find the poster. Where the fuck is it? Do I have to actually pull up the poster in a separate tab for reference? Maybe I do. It looks like that, I think. Maybe not. Let's see. Man, there were a lot of jank fighting games in this 100. Something costs more than $1. That's about boxing. Bear with me, y'all. I'm trying here. Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out what that was. At least those are all grouped together. That feels accurate. I can't find this fucking poster. This is driving me crazy. Oh, I was looking for the wrong color scheme. Okay. I was looking for like a bluish. This is more of a gray. Is that it? That's not it. Although there's a spoiler. JoJo's Venture Story. There it is. Alright, finally. Jeez. Alright, sorry for that delay. Good God. There was a cabinet at Louisville Arcade Expo one year. This was many years ago, probably like 2012, 2013. Maybe 2015. This isn't a jank fighting game, but I think it still goes in C. Daraku Tenshi was another unreleased fighting game that the 1cc that as I played was pretty easy. You had to play a character named Harry, and you did, it's a time-honored strat, whiff empty jump buttons into command grab, and it won. It was not that difficult. It is a better game than any of these, despite being unfinished, but I think Time Killers was more engaging 1cc, so it certainly was more like exciting. We're going through that there. That was not number 104, by the way. That was much, much later, but now I'm going to start prancing around and stuff, dancing around. On to good fighting games. Tekken 4, and yes, I said Tekken 4 is a good fighting game. I'll die on that hill. Many problems as it has, Tekken 4 has a lot of upside. Actually, it was one of 3 games I cleared as a PS2 copy. Tekken 4's 1cc is kind of boring. Yeah, I thought it's just kind of whatever. Like hey, what's up, Substyly? Yeah, like Tekken 4 is a fine game. It's just as a 1cc pursuit, it was just kind of whatever. But I'd put it above these. I don't think it's any better than a C though. I remember for the first 100, I put Tekken 2 in C just because of how absurdly difficult it was compared to 1 and 3, and 1 and 3 were a lot more engaging and had cooler strats. Tekken 4, you can kind of just play what you want and you'll just get there. I do recommend playing good characters. I forgot who I played for mine. I think it was Kazuya. Kazuya's like mid-tier in that game, but he has like a really high damaging like combo of his while-standing too, so. Tekken 4 primarily had great style. Like, it was the last game in the franchise that really tried to take risks with what it was trying to present. Like, every character had, like, a brand new look, for the most part. Some exceptions. Maybe. Actually, no, most of the characters had, like, some new look that, like, they had just never really utilized before. King with long hair, Hwoarang let his hair down, Zhao had on, like a jogging suit. Kazuya had the shades. Like, there was a lot of cool stuff, and the music was excellent. This music is so goddamn good. But yeah, like, Tekken 4 just had this interesting aura about it. It's just that gameplay-wise, it also had a lot of issues. Anyway, I'll stop talking about that. Tekken 5, where I can find it, is another one I played the PS2 version of, and it's one I'd rate quite a bit higher. The Heihachi fight alone is... Sorry, Heihachi. The Jinpachi fight alone is a lot more, like, interesting and intriguing than anything Tekken 4 has to offer as a single-player challenge. Devil Jin's the sub-boss, and... he's about like Heihachi was in Tekken 4. Like, he presents some challenge, sure, but overall, he's just harder than everybody before, whereas Jinpachi actually has, like, a final boss mode about him, and he's actually tough. I cleared it with Law, and Law's 443 and Wall Running 3 just did really good against him, because Jinpachi on a knockdown will tech roll to the side, and they just eat big mids like that for breakfast, and you just loop it. What's up, Smitty? Yeah, enjoy your Sears catalog. And the other game I cleared for PS2, I'll go ahead and throw in there, was Soul Calibur 2. Soul Calibur 2 is an amazing video game. And the ones similar to Tekken 4, the 1cc is kind of just whatever. I put it right about in here. PS3 version of... Are you referring to Tekken 5 DR? Because that's a different game than Tekken 5 Vanilla. So there was Tekken 5 Vanilla. That was the version that was released on PS2. Then there was Tekken 5... There was a revision. I forgot what it was called. I think it was version 5.1, I want to say. That actually never got a home port. It primarily rebalanced it, I believe. They rebalanced a lot of characters. I don't know who got nerfed, but the problem in Tekken 5 Vanilla was that the good characters were degenerately good. Like, they were wildly problematic. The best being Steve, who had an infinite, Nina, who had some of the best moves in Tekken history, Brian had an inescapable wall tech trap, Raven also had an infinite, but it only worked on the wall. Steve's worked in open space. Feng was absurd. Heihachi would have beaten any character in Tekken 5.1 or Tekken 5 DR, and he was still like 10th best. Or so. Devil Jin was ridiculous. Like, the Tekken 5 characters that were, like, SS tier, like, really needed to be knocked down a peg. But yeah, the home version was just Tekken 5 Vanilla, and I mean, it's a fine 1cc pursuit. Jinpachi is actually an interesting final boss, so. Let's talk about something different. I talked earlier about wrestling games, so I'll start talking about some of those. Champion Wrestler is a game I enjoyed quite a bit. Champion Wrestler is from Taito. Has 8 playable characters. You have to fight all of them throughout the course of the story, and that actually could change the difficulty because some characters were harder in later stages than others were. And it was a Taito game, so it had some really funny memes and panache and pizzazz. I actually like Champion Wrestler a lot. I think I'd go with his name. I remember I played it in the Coin-Op Classic one year and I actually lost that run because I fucked up on a pin escape and I got pinned. I was like, no. I played as Matterhorn. Matterhorn's the Andre the Giant wannabe, and he's pretty silly because like both of his normals cause knockdown. They do really, really good damage. He's very hard to grapple properly. So yeah, it just felt really cheap. I think every character's viable though, or close to it. I saw another one in here that I want to talk about. This one came a bit later. Trying to find Mat Mania. Mat Mania was pretty cool. It definitely had its unfairness in regards. The idea was you just do tech catches on the ground to keep grappling people, and only one enemy could actually cause real problems with that, and that was Coco Savage. Coco Savage was fucking brutal. He had a shoulder charge he could do out of dash, and he would just do it to like anything. Like he would do it input reads, and he would shoulder tackle you out of it, and you would just cause hard knockdown. And you really didn't have any answers. It was a beating for sure. But overall, like, it was fun. Once you got past Coco Savage, it was completely fun. And it loops, so you could go for second loop if you want to. Everybody's way harder in loop 2, though. Especially Coco. Where is... Where's Matt Mania? I saw it earlier. Growl. Guess I'll talk about that next since I said the name out loud. There it is, Matt Mania. I think Matt Mania is a B. I think it was definitely more engaging than some of the Tekken 4. Probably not more so than Tekken 5, though. So I mentioned Growl. We'll talk about Growl. I wanted to like Growl more than I did. I actually have a lot of problems with Growl. It does have upsides. Whichever 1cc route you go, whether it be Whip or Sword, both are completely viable and both are really fun. Whip is easier. Sword has I think Sword's the speed strat of choice. Like Sword has more boss quick kills. It's just harder to utilize overall because it doesn't have as much screen coverage. Like when you're using Whip, it hits like everything in front of you on the Z-axis and quite a few things behind you as well. It's absurd. The music's really good. Some of the quotes are hilarious in their memorability. Like they're like borderline all-timers. Downsides, you don't really get to heal a lot. When you defeat a stage, you only heal 2 health points. And I think you only have 8. Kind of like Tough Turf, so you kind of have to conserve your health a bit. And one big mistake can just flush the whole run. And it's only a 1 life clear. I don't know why Taito liked doing that around that time, but it was definitely something they pushed. It had an engaging atmosphere. I really liked the story. Like anybody to me who's on the right side of things politically will enjoy the story. Like you're a bunch of like law officials trying to take out a gang of poachers, and nobody likes poachers. Although at the end it starts getting really sci-fi. I can't really give it a high grade though, because the bad in that game is really bad, and the worst of it all is probably the fucking lava room. There's a segment right before the final stage where you have to do platforming in this room where you have to jump like on moving platforms and over lava, and it's really tedious. Like I had to memorize it and everything. It killed quite a few of my attempts because it's very punishing of mistakes. So that made me enjoy it a lot less, and it's one that's also hard to recommend to like someone who would be curious about it. I think I would be generous and go B, but it's going to be a low B. On the subject of weird beat 'em ups, let's talk about Altered Beast. I'm not a big fan of Altered Beast. Arcade Altered Beast. I played Genesis Altered Beast more, so I have a lot more nostalgia for it. Arcade Altered Beast, like, as a 1cc pursuit, like, it just felt a lot more unfair. Like, missing killing a wolf in that game is really bad, because the additional waves of enemies you have to deal with are so much harder if you're still in human form. And it just wasn't really fun to grind. It was the first game I learned for October in 2021, I believe. And it's one I've never revisited. It's short. That's the one upside of it. And like the strats are mostly simple, particularly the boss strats. The bosses are actually easier than any of the stages. The stages are just slow glacial auto scrollers, and they're not fun. But yeah, I think Altered Beast in a C context sounds correct. It's probably a little bit better than Time Killers, just because like it has actual strats to it as opposed to just a repetitive strat. But I rank it below Tekken 4 to Soul Calibur 2 just because it's just not as fun as those games overall, because those games are actually good. Our October games. Let's talk about Nightmare in the Dark. Nightmare in the Dark's pretty sweet. That was probably the most unique game I learned that year. I think it was also my first single-screen platformer that I ever learned. I've only learned a small handful since. Rodland, Tang Tang. I know I've learned at least one more, but I can't remember right now. Oh, Snow Brothers 2. But yeah, Nightmare in the Dark was really cool. Really late SNK title came out in, I think it was like 1998. You play as this plague witch who has to, Bubble Bobble style, use a lantern to catch enemies on fire and roll them and to hit other characters or other enemies. And it's a fun experience. Much like most SSPs, take a hit and you probably have to reset. Unless you're at like the very end of the game. There were some difficulty spikes. The stage 3 boss is a fucking asshole. That fucking gargoyle. Oh my god, that guy was the source of much rage on many occasions. And the stage 5 boss is also not free. Like, I don't think it's as hard as the gargoyle, but I definitely like completely blew it in a couple of instances. Like, I choked that final boss at least once or twice. Visually though, it's gorgeous. Like, it actually utilized the 3D models of the 2D environment really, really well. I think it did an excellently serviceable job with that. And the music's really good. So I think it's definitely a B. I'd probably put it above all these in B, honestly. On the subject of latest SNK, let's talk about Ganru. Ganru's great. Ganru is, if you want to speedrun it, you can sub 10 the game. I learned the 1cc first and got like a sub 15 when I cleared it. I think it only took me 2 or 3 attempts. It's really fun. It has really great speed tech. You have a slide, and the slide is amazing. Like, you just get to go all over the place with that. The boss fights are not too bad outside of... Which one has all the RNG? I think it's the stage... It's whatever the Ninja Gaiden boss is. Yeah, I've actually submitted Ganru to GDQ a few times. It's never been taken. I wish I knew why, but anyway. Yeah, Ganru's very, very good. Really cool story, great anime style background, and it has like a lot of good memes, particularly some of the facial expressions. But yeah, again, I can't remember if I think it's a stage 3 boss. This is a stage 3 boss. The stage 4 boss is the giant thing. So the stage 3 boss is basically a Ninja Gaiden, it's basically like a Ninja Gaiden style boss. Think fighting the demon, but quite a bit more fair, but still very random. You should definitely play it sub-style. That game is all you. Ganru is easily worth an A. I put it above Champion Wrestler. It has a pretty good amount of depth. Like I said, the 1cc strats are perfectly viable, and the speed strats are even better. It's a super good game. Final stage is kind of a gimme. It's really short, and the final boss isn't really that hard. But I think stuff like that makes it a really good speed game too. Sub brought it up earlier, and I'll go ahead and talk about it now since it's also technically a ninja game. Let's talk about Osman. Osman was number 120. It was a game I was very excited to learn, especially after I had beaten Strider 25 games earlier. At its core value, Osman is a good game. It has a lot to offer. Visually, it's one of the most striking games I've ever seen. The game is just beautiful. It is just so fucking pretty to look at. The music is mostly good. There isn't a ton of music that's memorable, which is strange. Like, the most memorable thing for me is the stage outro. What's up, Keisha? But I do have some issues with the game. Before I get to stage 5, there's one other thing. This is a weird tribal knowledge check that I don't really love. So you have the mechanic of the 3 bosses, right? And it's completely optimal to fight them in a certain order. And I kind of don't love that they do the branching paths, but make it to where it's absolutely correct to fight them in a very specific order, or else you're going to have a really hard time. Like, trying to fight the guy who has the mech in the background in the small confined stage, fuck that. That shit was awful. I did that once just as an experiment. I'm like, God, imagine getting this, like, just because you don't know which direction you're going in. Like, experimentally, it's interesting, but has it aged well? No. No. You absolutely need to route that game if you're going to try and beat it. You cannot go into that game just thinking your kicks are going to just get you there. So that was an issue I had with it. I think it's not the worst thing in the game, but it is something about it that I didn't love. And then stage 5 is just a huge problem all on its own. So, for those who don't know, when you kill who you think is the big bad, spoilers, in-game, who dies in a cutscene, you then have to enter the actual end-game, which is... To say it's daunting is an understatement. It has no checkpoints. Well, no, that's incorrect. It has like 2, but you have to go through quite a bit to get to the first checkpoint. I'm trying to remember the name of the fucking boss. So he's like the... I gotta mute this, hang on. That's my voice you hear. Okay, so the stage 1 boss, Gamron, Pretty easy in stage 1. The refight, hardest fucking thing in the game. Like, yeah, Gamera, when you have to refight him, instead of being on even ground, he's on a slope. Holy shit, that fight sucks. That fight sucks so fucking much. Like, oh my god. I think I practiced that more than literally anything else in the game. But I do treat him as the actual final boss, because the 2 boss fights after that have exploits. The clone fight, you can just stay on the wall and just wall kick it to death, and it can't ever reach you. And the actual final boss, you can death abuse and use bombs to kill her. So it's not that bad. But yeah, like until you get past Gamera, you basically can't beat the game. And if he kills you, you lose all your power-ups. Which means everything after that is infinitely harder. Even the 2 final bosses, the 2 bosses that have like the exploits I was talking about, because not getting that far means you lose out on your bombs and just all kinds of stuff. Like, oh my god, that game... Ostman has so much to offer in terms of presentation, but man, some of the design choices are just... I'll be nice and call them questionable. That said, as a 1cc pursuit, for anyone who's into games like that, I actually think it is a perfectly good game, but I think some call it wrong. I can't give it an S. It's a very good game, but man, it is... I feel like it's one of those games that's like really taxing for the wrong reasons, but I will definitely put it in A. I didn't enjoy it as much as Ganru as an actual game. Ganru just has like... It just has so much more appeal. It's great for beginners. It's great for experienced gamers. Definitely above Champion Wrestler, though. Champion Wrestler is more like just memes. So, it can still be in the top 10. I want 8 games in S. But, it could still end up being a top 10 game. You never know. I don't want to spoil the biggest grind early. Kyo was talking about it, but we can wait on that. Let's talk about Street Fighter 3. As in 3! I actually don't know where I put 3. So you got New Generation, you got Second Impact, and you got Third Strike. Of the 3, I actually had the most fun with Street Fighter 3 NG, and not just because of the poster. The poster's hilarious, but I kind of have to give all the credit to 05 Pro. 05 Pro, for those who don't know, is an arcade grinder out of Japan. He's really, really good. And he does a lot of fighting game clears, but he does like challenge fighting game clears. Like he'll do like 1-button clears. I learned a couple clears from him. One was this one's for much later, like in the 200 to 300 slot. But for Garo Mark of the Wolves, I did a Terry heavy punch only clear. And Street Fighter 3 New Generation was another example of that. I learned it with Ken using only medium kick, and it was a lot of fun. Like I really, really enjoyed it. So I think for how I learned it, I'd give it an A. Low end of A, but still an A. Overall, though, like New Generation, I mean, it's the worst of the Street Fighter 3 games if you're just trying to play with your friends, for sure. But as a 1cc game, I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. Second Impact, just did brain dead stuff. I put it as Sean. Sean's really, really good in Second Impact, so it's like, it was kind of just whatever. I put it in B. A little more engaged than Tekken 5, but not by much. That's awesome. And then Third Strike. I actually think Third Strike is my least favorite. I played Chun, so another top tier character. But like, I just didn't like it. Like, Third Strike always came down to one thing, and that was just Gil. I could blow through the rest of that game, no problem. Because Chun is busted, and the AI in that game really isn't all that smart or all that special. And then you get to Gil, and Gil just has entirely too much cheap shit that's just not fun to deal with. Is it beatable? It absolutely is. But it's just not fun to do. So, I think that goes even lower B. Actually, I'm ranking this even lower than this. I think Second Impact even goes below Growl, as far as like being engaging, and then Third Strike even below that. So we talked about it earlier, Holosseum. My first D game of the day. Holosseum is not good. The strats are really easy to learn, but the game is terrible. Like, yes, they're easy to learn, but they're not fun to implement. It just plays like shit. You basically have to sweep and hope. And then, like, hope your dodges get on point. And Really, the first 80% of the game is moderate. What's up, Dumplechon? But the very last stages of Boss Gauntlet, you have to beat 10 enemies in a row, and you're just having to do this sweep and dodge and sweep and dodge and dodge and dodge and sweep and just... Oh, God, it was so bad. Oh, God. Yeah, Holosseum's not a good game. I'm glad I once CC'd it. That means I never have to play it again, but the game is a piece of shit. I'm actually curious. Where did that end up? Oh, that was in my 200. Okay. I was wondering where Time Traveler was. Actually, that was number 227. I guess I didn't start doing FMV games until Dragon's Lair, and that was 225, so that makes sense. We're not talking about Time Traveler, though. That'll be for another day. Any other 3D fighters in here? Oh, yeah, I just saw Fighting Vipers. Where's Fighting Vipers? So I initially tried runs of Fighting Vipers ages ago. We're talking somewhere in the first 100. I could never pin it down. I tried playing as Honey, and I couldn't really find any 1cc's for it, so I kind of just threw what I could at it and hoped it worked, and it didn't. I didn't think it was... It just seemed like it had some issues that I was going to have a hard time overcoming, but I actually have to give Dumple props for this. They were the one that uploaded a 1cc with Jane, just doing AAA string, and it was enough to carry it. Like, AAA is natural combo when it hits, and I think it's not plus on block, but it has really good pushback, so you just get to set it up again really easily, and it starts with a jab, so it's fast. I think Fighting Vipers gets a low B. I'd rank it above either Second Impact or Third Strike as a 1cc pursuit. It's short. It has problems with 3D fighting games at the time. Everything does a shit ton of damage, like a lot of damage, a whole fucking lot of damage. But overall, it's okay. But I think I like it better than most of the games in C. Like, I definitely would put it above like Tekken 4 as a 1cc pursuit. On the same note, since we're also talking about Sega 3D fighting games, I did Virtua Fighter 3 and Virtua Fighter 3 TB. Virtua Fighter 3 was kind of whatever. It was the easiest of the Virtua Fighter games, for sure. I think I put it right about there. I definitely preferred it over Altered Beast. And then Virtua Fighter 3 TB was a little bit better. The team battle aspect made it interesting, so you just got to do 3v3 fights. So the interesting thing was, the team I played in TB, I ended up playing as the 3 characters I cleared the first 3 with. So I cleared 1 with Pi, I cleared 2 with Sarah, and I cleared 3 with Jackie. So Virtua Fighter 3 TB, that was just my team. Was Pi, Sarah, Jackie. And it got there. It was alright. So, speaking of games that I initially started in the first 100, but didn't finish in the first 100, Street Fighter EX, I only played the first one during my first 100. I played as Crackerjack. It was fine. I didn't have to fight Akuma. I beat Bison. It was decent. EX plus Alpha I had a lot more fun with, because by that point I had learned that Zangief was just the go-to. Like, command grab characters in these games are actually ridiculous, because you can do what I mentioned earlier with Daraku Tenshi, is you can just empty jump big buttons with them, and when you land you command grab them. So with Gief you just spinning pile driver people and it just does tons of damage. I enjoyed it. It was silly, it was fun. I'd probably put it in B. I'd rank it above either Second Impact or Third Strike. Same goes for EX2 Plus. I'll talk about EX2 here in a moment. Where are EX2 and EX2 Plus? That is not that. Saw them earlier. They're here somewhere. That's not it. There we go. The EX2 Plus I enjoyed. I played EX2 Plus as Darren. I was in one of those modes at the time where I was trying, if I was doing a bunch of games in a franchise, for this case, the franchise is Street Fighter EX, not Street Fighter, I was trying to do it with all different characters. So, for the non-plus games, I cleared it with non-command grabs, so I played Crackerjack for EX, then EX Plus I played Gief, EX2 Plus I played Darren, And then for EX2, I played Shadowgeist, and that was something. It was definitely the least fun I had playing an EX game. I don't have as much nostalgia for EX2 as I do for EX1, even though EX2 is definitely a better game. I just didn't play it. Like, I own Street Fighter EX Plus Alpha on the PlayStation. I played it to death. But learning I did with Shadowgeist, it's fairly low. I think I put it right about, maybe even below Ultra. Yeah, I put it below Ultra Beast, but above Time Killers. Time Killers is still bad. Let's keep looking. More 3D fighting games. Let's talk about DOA++. I still have not cleared DOA 1 to this day. I did clear DOA 2 and DOA 2 Millennium during my first 100. DOA++ was just... So DOA 1, what Millennium was to DOA 2, but it was actually, I think, a bit more of an upgrade than that. Like, it actually seemed like it tried to just completely reformat the visuals, and it looked a lot better. Played as Ayane. Ayane's really good. You do ground bounce combos off of the explosives that are outside the ring area. It was okay. I'd probably put it in low B. Probably there. Actually, I think I'm going to reformat some of these. I think I'm going to move Fighting Vipers behind the Street Fighter EX Plus titles. I definitely didn't enjoy Jane's AAA as much as I did command grabbing people into oblivion. What were some other franchises I, returned back to? SVC Chaos. I did every CVS game for the first 100, so SVC Chaos came later. SVC Chaos was the first game I discovered the My glitch. I talked about it in the first 100, but... Actually, no, I talked about it in the A to Z 1cc because I did it for KOF 2001. If you play as My... If you stand still and do nothing, the AI will just stare at you. It's a glitch that got programmed into KOF and SNK fighting games if she was playable in a specific time period. It didn't happen before it didn't happen after it, but it definitely happened. In the late 90s, early 2000s, it was pretty common to see. That said, SVC Chaos is not a good game. I wouldn't rank it below the bottom of the barrel in C. I think I didn't like it. I think I'd put it below Time Killers, though. I didn't think I'd put it below Daraku Tenshi, but at least it had more memes than, Best of Best or, well, maybe not Tattoo Assassins, but, it's fine. It's a low C regardless. And speaking of KOF, I cleared KOF 2000 for my first game of Jingle L Rock in 2021. I originally wanted to do, Die Hard Arcade because Christmas, and that didn't work out because that game was way harder than I thought it was going to be. I plan to revisit that one. BBH's more recent strats are a lot more enticing to want to return to that game, so expect that one to come back up on the shelf. But instead, my primary project for Jingle L Rock 2021 is what I'll talk about in a moment. So I just did KOF 2000 as my backup, and I gotta comment on one thing for this game. The title theme to this game is fucking fire. I just want to load it up one time. It's just so good. I think it's this one. That's the long version. This is the short one. It's fucking so good. I wanted to play it just after hearing that. I was like, hell yeah, let's go. But, second verse, same as the first. I did the My glitch. I forgot who my full team was. It was, King, Yuri, and Mai, I want to say. Maybe Athena. It was Athena, King, Mai, with Joe as the striker. That's right. But yeah, it was okay. It was another My glitch game. It was definitely more fun than SVC Chaos, and any KOF, I'm pretty sure, is going to be better than SVC Chaos. SVC Chaos is just not a good game. It's a game that should have been better than it was. So anyway, for Jingle L Rock 2021, that'll bring me to not only my first S tier game for that block of 100, not only my hardest 1cc ever, but also one of my most rewarding grinds ever. Da-da-da. Now, I will say that it's rare that I put a game in S tier that I haven't revisited. But in Battletoads, I think it's absolutely warranted. Battletoads Arcade was... for all of its problems, and it has a lot of fucking problems. Holy shit, does it have problems. Grinding that game out was one of the most rewarding experiences of my streaming hobby. It took me almost an entire month. And I remember that first week, all I was doing was grinding stages. Like, I would grind a stage per day. On Monday, I grinded stage 1. On Tuesday, I grinded stage 2. On Wednesday, I grinded stage 3. And so on. And I just spent a whole day grinding specific stages just because I wanted to know all the little ticks. I wanted to make sure I knew what to be prepared for. Because even though there isn't a lot of RNG in that game, the things you end up being unprepared for, if you are unprepared, are incredibly unforgiving, and it might just kill you. It's also a very execution-heavy game, because if you're doing a dash attack on a bunch of enemies at once, you not only want to make sure they're in position, but you have to have the wherewithal to be able to make sure that you're getting that out when you need it. Because if you get anything else, there's a good chance you're dead. It also stands out for me in that it's a game that a lot of my contemporaries haven't really touched. At the time I cleared it, I think there were less than 5 1cc's on YouTube. I knew PJ had cleared it. I knew Juno had cleared it. I don't remember if Iconoclast cleared it. Let me look at that. No, I actually didn't. Iconoclast only cleared it a year ago, so yeah, I actually had that ahead of them. And I had to give all the props to PJ in particular, because he was the first person I reached out to for strats. The first thing I wanted to know was, if I'm doing this as my first time, which I am, what character should I play? Because every character has their pros and cons. Like, Rash, Pimple, and Zitz are honestly pretty well balanced between the three of them. So I asked him who the best beginner character was, and he said probably Rash. And I said, even with the bad stage 4, he's like, yeah, it's just because he just covers so much downside and so much gray area in other stages that he really is the go-to. And I said, okay. So I learned Rash, and Rash was very good. His stage 4 is by far the hardest of the 3. The stage 4 is the descent, where you're on the jetpacks with the helicopter blades, and Rash has a problem in that stage because his basic attack, which is the kick flurry, it has a hurt box that extends farther than its hit box. So you can try to hit an enemy, and if you try to do it too far in advance, there's a good chance you're getting hit first. So that was traumatizing to a degree. It sucked, but I held out through it. It was a stage that I knew I was going to have to get through Deathless in order to be able to clear it, and the final run featured a death in the stage 5 boss, which shouldn't have happened. I just got a little bit overzealous. Another death in the red orb section, and honestly, that's the one big net negative I have of that game, is that fucking red orb segment. In the last stage, so there's a number of waves of enemies for the final boss. It's the run and gun level. And there's a segment where there are red orbs that appear, and it is the most random part of the entire game. Red orbs flying at you, and they do damage. And which ones appear and where they appear is completely random. You can't just memorize where you're supposed to point. Everything has to be reaction-based. And that's really hard to do. So the game is pressuring you to be able to utilize bombs and deplete your bombs before moving on. That didn't work out. It killed me. But then I just had a complete butt clencher of a last fight, and it was everything I needed to be. Like, I still go back and watch the end of that 1cc sometimes just to see my chat just losing their shit at just how tight I was playing, because I was playing very tight. I was like, I don't want anything to touch me. I'm not moving unless I'm threatened. Like, I was just... It's the safest I've ever played a video game, and it was amazing. It was... It's a good one, for sure. I don't think every beat-em-up player is going to clear it, but it's an awesome game. And I wish more people would take the time with it just to see what kind of beauty it has to offer. But that said, it's brutally difficult. It took me a long time to get that one. But the game was rad, so... let's throw another game into S. And I'm actually going to talk about two different versions of it. I'm only going to put one in S. The other one goes in A. I just didn't enjoy it as much. I got to find the... Well, I've got the one I'm putting in A, so I'll put that there. Let's talk about Aliens. So this is the US poster. Actually, I think I like Aliens a little bit less than Champion Wrestler. Aliens US, that is. Aliens World, sorry. Aliens US is the hardest version. I've not cleared it. Aliens World keeps the rail shooter segments from Aliens US, but I forgot what it does that makes it easier. I don't know if it was like health refills, something. There's something about it where it's not as difficult as Aliens US, and I just didn't quite like it as much. It was the second version that I cleared. I enjoyed the Japanese version so much that I wanted to do another version, so I went with like the second easiest version. And the difficulty ranking goes Japan, underneath World, underneath US. Yeah, that was me when I first cleared Punisher. Carcinogen rated me. That was sick. It was like 200 people just getting to see me beat Kingpin. It was awesome. So I feel ya. It's a good feeling. Anyway, where is Aliens JP? It's here somewhere. Talked about it so damn much, now I can't even find it. Is this it? Yeah, there's my beauty. There's my beautiful xenomorph. Ta-da! It arguably could be above Battletoads because I have revisited it. I did play it later that year for the Halloween Horror Marathon for RGL. And it was actually the marathon closer, and I was very honored to be able to do that. And it got the 1cc, so that was A+. I just don't think it was quite the rewarding grind that Battletoads was, but it is awesome. Japanese version of Aliens is by far the most fair, and it's really fun to play. I have considered revisiting it. I've not played it in a long time. It's not super difficult to derust, but if you're just trying to play it just to play it, it is going to kill you. Like, there are certain things you have to be able to be ready for. On the subject of games based on movies, let's talk about Batman, as in Atari Batman. That was one of those games I never thought I was going to 1cc, and it does have its hard segments. The art museum is fucking nightmare, and it's only like the third stage, which is the other fucked up thing. Like, that game spikes really early on, and then the last stage is just madness. Like, there's so much shit you have to be ready for, memorization and things like that. That said, I think Batman is mostly good, but I think it's deserving of B. I didn't like it quite as much as a game like Nightmare in the Dark. But it's satisfying. Like, being able to actually beat it and beat Joker for all of his bullshit he gives you, and plus, you know, Atari game, it was a worthwhile grind. It was a game I didn't love, but was glad I did it. E for Batman, yeah, that happens sometimes. Do something fun. Let's talk about racing games. And I'm going to go on these based on... So what I'm going to do is I see a racing game, I'm going to right-click on it, I'm going to open the image. That's Thrash Rally. Thrash Rally was okay. It's really short. I'd give it a high C. I'd probably put it above... Yeah, I think right about there is fine. Notable for having to drive around giant trucks. It was kind of weird. Not bad, just kind of weird. What's this one? Overtop. Overtop's quite a bit better. Overtop I would put somewhere in B. Probably right about... I didn't like it as much as the EX games. Overtop is a game where you basically have to route it. I first tried learning it a long time ago, back when I first saw Murph play it in the first Coin-Op Classic, but I didn't quite understand how the mechanics worked. I know how the route worked, but as far as like how you're able to get and maintain your speed, once I understood that, it became a lot easier, and I was able to get it like first or second try or something. But it's really good. It's very much worth learning. It definitely has like baby's first 1cc racing game attached to it. Like it's pretty good. I definitely recommend it. I just didn't enjoy it quite as much as like. Actually, now that I think about it, no, I think Growl can stay there. I was thinking about moving Growl a bit further down, but I think Growl's fine there. I do ever think I'm going to move Mat Mania down because I definitely enjoyed Overtop more than Mat Mania. Probably more than Tekken 5 as well. So yeah, let's do it like right about there. Okay. More racing games. The Stalker? Yeah, Stalker's a sweet one. Stalker is also a game where you have to know the route. It's really short, but it's really fun. The routing is hilarious. Like, you're, like, driving through dirt and shit, but if the game can just screw you. It can just be like, oh, here's this car in the way you didn't know about. You lost a ton of time. So, that's unfortunate. I still think I'd put it like right around in here. It's not as fun. I didn't find it as fun as Overtop, but it is really fun. And, like I said, it's short. They're both, like, sub 6, sub 7 minutes once you finish a run. So pretty short. More racing games, if I have any more. Here's one. Neo Drift Out. Neo Drift Out was pretty tough. I will say this. The game's difficulty scales very well. Each like next stage is much harder than the previous stage, which is what you want for progression. So much so that by the time you get to the last stage, everything else seems like you're playing the first stage all over again based on how easy it is. That last stage took me many tries to finally get across like 2 or 3 streams. Like it was a lot. It took me a lot of time to get it. But that said, the game is amazing. The music's really good. The interactivity is really good, if that makes sense. Like the commentator work is really well put together. The game looks great. SNK really knew what they were doing with racing games. I don't know, but yeah, between that and Overtop, like they kind of knocked it out of the park. I don't think I like it as much as those other two though, just because the degree of difficulty is a bit much at times, and it's a lot longer. Like Neo Drift Out's like a 20-minute run, beginning to end, because it's actually like a number of races. And I didn't find it as fun as those two, but it was still a good game, and I'm glad I got it. Racing. I don't think I see any more. Let's get back to our October stuff. Let's talk about Splatterhouse. I'm not sure where I am on Splatterhouse. If I loved everything about the game, it would be an S, because S for Splatterhouse. At face value and bottom line, it's a good 1cc. Like, really good. But man, I've never revisited it since clearing it. The memorization in the first 5 stages or so is honestly not that bad. You do have to put in the work. Like, you actually have to grind out and make sure your strats are, like, lined up where they want to be. You want to make sure you have good reactionary, all that good stuff. But, oh boy, the biggest issue I have with it is Stage 6. Stage 6 is the worst thing in the game across not only numerous margins, but across numerous layers. It's the only stage that has no checkpoints. So, you have to beat it beginning to end. If you take a death, you have to start right from the very beginning. And if you watch my run, my only 2 deaths are in that stage. It's a really hard stage. The enemies basically spawn out of the ceiling and the floor, and you're incentivized to kill them very, very quickly. Like, as soon as they spawn, you're better off just taking care of them right away, whether it's with a jump kick, slide, crouch jab, whatever you have. Like, you just have to dispose of them quickly. Because if they're active and they get to jump on you, things get ugly really, really fast, and you don't want anything to do with that, because you're going to take a lot of damage, and you're probably going to die. And then you get to the boss, and it's more of the same, because the boss invariably is not that difficult, but you still have all that other garbage to deal with while that's happening. So, lots of awareness is required. That said, it's an iconic game. It's a great game. Like, I have, outside of Stage 6 specifically, I don't have a single bad thing to say about Splatterhouse. Like, its jank works in its favor. I think it's easily worth an A, but because of Stage 6, I just can't see putting it in an S. Like, Stage 6 is just super ridiculous and super dumb for all the wrong reasons. I think I put it above Osman, but not Ganru. I think that's my final answer. I'm just starting to beat 'em ups. I'm gonna go ahead and throw 2 more in S, and these are effectively the same game. Those being Crime Fighters 2 and Vendetta. I first learned Crime Fighters 2 for number 110. I learned it as Boomer. Boomer is, like, the known best character in the game. He's the best neutral. If there's like a best version of attack, he has it. Like he's just an extremely good character. He can do all the things. He can despawn well. He has good normals. He has a good throw. He has a good hold, which is like his headlock. He's just a very very good character. And then when I went back and played Vendetta, which only had one enemy style change that was in stage 3, I believe. I played it as Hawk, and even though Boomer is definitely a better character top to bottom than Hawk, Hawk just kind of made more sense to me. Like, there was something about his hold, which is the headbutt, that just routinely worked for me better than Boomer's headlock. I can't explain it, but it was just one of those things that made sense. So I guess if I ever did co-op of that game, I would be playing a mid-tier character, which is great for the players that want to play the best character. But anyway, Vendetta / Crime Fighters 2 is phenomenal. I know according to Murph, he thinks it's Konami's best beat 'em up, and when it comes to arcade beat 'em ups, I honestly don't really find much room to disagree. It's a very good game. It's a little sluggish. Like, there are definitely some mechanics about it that feel a little bit archaic, but they're also unique to Vendetta. Like, they don't really appear in other games. Like, the way that throws work in that game, it doesn't really apply to other games. And that works in its favor, because it's really well integrated, it's just different. So that way I'll put them both up here. I don't know if I'd rank one directly above the other. Probably Vendetta over Crime Fighters 2, just because I enjoyed the Hawk playthrough more, but they're effectively the same game. And like I said, I only cleared the other one because I just really wanted to play it again. I enjoyed it so much the first time. The boss rush is an asshole, for sure, but it can be learned. There are definitely more daunting things in games. Like, I would do the Vendetta boss rush over, like, the final Gauntlet in Holosseum again, you know? Where is Crime Fighters 2? That's not it. Is that it? Yep, there it is. Okay. Throw it up there. Good poster. Like it. So not for beat 'em ups in the S right now, but for belt scrollers. Alien's definitely a belt scroller. I'll throw another game in D. Journey, not very enjoyable. I only did one loop of it. I wasn't really that excited about it. I thought it was just okay. The gameplay was really jank and really offbeat. Like, it has novelty, it has Journey songs in it, and the 4 members of the band are all in the game, so you got that going for it, but overall, eh. Another game that loops, Tron, I would rank a bit above that. Tron just felt a lot more engaging than a game like Journey, but I still wouldn't rank it very high. I think I cleared... There's either 2 or 3 loops, I don't remember. I never really wanted to revisit it, though, but I think it definitely is better than Journey, so I'd put it in low C as opposed to Journey's high D. I don't know what this is. We'll talk about it next. Oh, Outfoxies. Okay, so... I mentioned at the beginning that there were some games that I really enjoyed at the time, but haven't enjoyed later. Like, just had diminishing returns. Outfoxies definitely classifies there. So when I initially learned Outfoxies, I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. It was different. Stylistically, the game is peak. Like, the music's awesome. The scenario is incredible. You just hire a bunch of assassins to kill each other in a Smash Brothers style arena. Like, it's actually got some neat and cool stuff going for it. But I've tried playing it a couple times since then, and I don't know if it was just the luster of having not cleared it before, but it was just completely gone. Like, I just haven't enjoyed it as much. So if I instinctively went with how I felt when I first cleared it, it'd be an A. But compared to how I feel about it now as a game, where I think it has a lot of flaws, and those flaws are incredibly glaring, it's probably a C. So I'll be nice and meet in the middle with a B. I think I put it above quite a few of these fighting games. I don't think I put it above any of the racing games, though. Like, it wouldn't be a game I would recommend to others over any of those racing games. Those being Overtop, Stalker, or Neo Drift Out. Speaking of games with guns, let's talk about Run and Gun. That's Wild West Cowboys and Move Mesa. Probably the easiest run and gun out there, unless you're doing 2 loops. 2 loops is a lot harder. I only did one loop. It's really easy. The one caveat was that the final boss was kind of tricky. But even now, like, there's new tech out there. Bad Rito found an exploit for the final boss that made him basically completely free, and I was like, oh, that would have been cool to know about. Still a fun game. Konami really knew what they were doing when it came to like bringing third-party franchises to life, and Wild West Cowboys was no different. That actually was a TV show, unlike Metamorphic Force and Ninja Baseball Batman, which never got TV rights anyway. But no, they brought that game, and it was interesting that they went with it. But the game ended up being decent. Like it's a simple, stylistically fine and fun running gun. It doesn't offer the greatest challenge, but I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the strats are just pretty well integrated. I think I'd go with a B. I'd go like... I think I put it above Drift Out and Stalker, but not Overtop. Actually, now that I think about it, I think I'm putting these below here. I'm up talking Overtop a lot, and I think that's perfectly validated, so we'll move those up a little bit. Definitely think it's better than Stalker. Back to games that loop, talk about Kicker. I've only done one loop of Kicker. I know there are people who have done many loops of Kicker. I know IS has played a lot of Kicker. BBH has played a lot of Kicker. For one loop, I enjoyed it. I got it in the stream. It was cool. More loops are probably worth doing, but I think I'd go with a B. Put it like right there. Since that's switched between some 3D fighting games, I'll also bring up one I missed when I was talking about Sega stuff, and that's Last Bronx. Last Bronx was Fighting Vipers, but worse. You have weapons as opposed to, like, armor that does or doesn't do anything. It's not as fun as Fighting Vipers, though. Similar strats, but I thought Fighting Vipers was better. Like, in a vacuum, for sure. On the side of the Sega, let's talk about eSWAT. This poster is hilarious to me. This is the only flyer I could find for eSWAT, and it's so ridiculous. It's another one that you use to sell to vendors. Here's a kit that proves crime can pay. eSWAT's great. I've actually debated revisiting it, because part of me kind of wants to learn the speedrun. Lots of danger in that speedrun, but there are people who have put a lot of time and put some good effort into it. IS is one of them. IS is really, really good at eSWAT. I think they have a sub 10. I think eSWAT's definitely worth a high B. I'd put it above... It's definitely better than Batman. I'd probably put it above Nightmare in the Dark. It also has really good memes. You fight a giant gorilla, for crying out loud. You fight like a tank instead of a baseball stadium. Like, the memes in eSWAT are tremendous. But it is... The downside to it is it's fairly difficult. It's a one-life game. And while you can heal... Healing between stages is either minimal or non-existent. I can't remember which specifically, but it's tough, but it's a fairly easy learn overall. Speaking of One Life games, let's talk about Sly Spy. Sly Spy, I remember, was a game I stayed up until pretty late in the morning trying to 1cc it. For a very specific reason that I won't go into, but it was like 3 or 4 in the morning when I finally got it. Sly Spy was pretty tough. Largely, the strats are fine. The gameplay is reasonable. It's a Data East game, very much in the same visual style as Bad Dudes vs. Dragon Ninja. But it's a one-life game, and while most of the stages I feel like were easy because gun combat is pretty well done in that game, like it actually like feels good to actually be able to do, there were exceptions. The underwater stages are really fucking hard. There's 2 of them, but they killed my runs more than anything else. The second one especially. The second one took the most practice by far. I think it's worth a low B, though. But where? I think I didn't like it as much as Neo Drift Out. I would say it's definitely better. I would say it's better than Outfoxy's. But, like, right about there seems correct. More platformers. Avenging Spirit, another game I learned for October. I did like 10 1cc's in October 2021. I was on a roll that year. Mostly because of the VSAF stuff, which I'll get to after this. But anyway, Avenging Spirit. Avenging Spirit was an interesting learn. It also doesn't really carry the energy or the aura of an arcade game, but it's still really good. The last stage was really hard, though. Like, you had to... The routing in that stage was pretty specific. You had to, for the last stretch, until you get the laser, it was do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, and no mistakes. Like, you basically had to do it all perfectly. But it was a good game. I think I put it above Sly Spy. But I like Neo Drift out a little bit better overall. Music is really cool. The concept's really fun. You get to, for those that have played DaVinci Spirit on any platform, you basically get to like possess characters when you beat them. So you can take control of enemies and beat them, and you can like swap your life total and all this other stuff. So there's a lot of strategy and goes into which character you play across which segments and things like that. So since I brought up the VSAV game, so Vampire Savior was the third Darkstalkers game. And it had 2 arcade release extensions, which by extensions I mean they pulled out some characters and added others. I don't know what all the specifics of them are. I know one of them added Donovan, but that's all I can remember. I think another one added Pyron and what's the robot's name? Hootzel. But they were largely the same game, and none of them were difficult 1cc's, so they all belong probably in C. I think there's VSAV. That's VSAV 2. It was the closest thing I could find. And then there's VSAV, and then Vampire Hunter. Which, Vampire Hunters, the poster's a weird one. This is actually the poster for the Japanese Darkstalkers 2, but it's the only flyer I could find for Vampire Hunter, so I'm counting it as that. And then, where's the other one? Is that it? There it is. Okay, so that's actually the OG VSAV. They were all pretty easy. Definitely easier than Darkstalkers 1 or 2. Darkstalkers 1, in fact, didn't happen until much, much later. Like, that was Halloween maybe 2 years ago? Maybe 3? Darkstalkers 1 was hard, but that's for another time. Night Warriors, which is the actual second Darkstalkers game, was quite a bit more enjoyable and harder than those. Let me make sure this is the correct one. Oh, actually, okay, so I messed up. So this is Vampire Hunter, and then that's Night Warriors. They're the same poster, I know, but I couldn't really do much with that. Night Warriors was quite a bit more engaging, so much so I'd probably put it in low B. I think I liked it better than Second Impact or Third Strike, so right about there is correct, I think. First and second one definitely better than any of the 3 extensions. Now, granted, as actual video games, and especially like competitively these days, Vampire Savior is kind of the crown jewel of the Darkstalkers franchise. And competitively, yes, it's very, very good. It's a very good game. But as a solo experience, 1cc game, I think it's the worst of any of them. And that includes its 2 arcade like re-releases or whatever. Let's go back to Vito's. Let's talk about Undercover Cops. Undercover Cops was the last Irem beat 'em up, and I'm talking like belt scrollers, not Vigilante, not Kung Fu Master. It was the last one that I cleared. It was around like number 160 or so. I actually think Undercover Cops was really fun, except for the last stage. The last stage, once you get on board the blimp, is just so fucking long and drawn out. They could have cut that in half, and it would have been a much more enjoyable game experience. It's a shame, too, because it would be a slam dunk of an A, but now, because of the last stage, I'm thinking more like high B, maybe? I don't even think I enjoyed it as much as a game like eSWAT. Probably more so than Nightmare in the Dark, though, but I think it's going right about here. If that last stage was cut down by half, it'd be looking at like a high A, maybe even an S. But it has that going against it. What can you do? It happens. Let's go from the top left here. Capcom Fighting Evolution is a pretty bad game. The 1cc is also not particularly special. I played Guile Dimitri because they're both really cheap. It was another game I played on PS2, so that should have been chalked into Tekken 4, Tekken 5, Soul Calibur 2. I completely forgot about it. That's honestly the biggest issue with the game, is that the game is completely forgettable. It's not very good. We'll put it in D. That's a franchise. We'll get to that later. Here's another game I can put in S. Neo Turf Masters. Probably would have never thought to put a golf game or a sports game in an S tier, but Neo Turf Masters was an awesome grind. Very difficult because that game is hilariously unfair when it wants to be. But the final run was very much worth it. I remember I I think I beat hole 17 being only 1 under par. Maybe 2. No, I think it was 1. And I got an eagle on the last hole. Like, as long as you get through hole 17 with better than 0, you're set. But like the last hole is just the last hole. You beat the game. But I got an eagle on it just for the rubbins, and it was worth it. There are still a couple of hard stages there, particularly across the Australia course, which is the easiest course. Hole 16 was fucking nightmare. But no, Turf Masters is super good. Very viable, very valid, and worthwhile 1cc for anyone wanting to do something different. I loved it. Pretty much, yeah, and I decided to get an eagle. Let's see. I was trying to think of a game that would be like a slam dunk for S, and I came across that one. I was like, oh yeah, that's an easy S. Turf Masters was the goods. Here's the game I'm putting probably in. I don't know if this goes in low C or high D. I think we'll go in low C. Let's talk about Combat School. Combat School has problems. The first X number of stages, where X is everything until the last stage, is all just training. You have to do X number of things correctly. And it kind of feels like other stuff Konami was doing around the time, you know, track and field, which we'll talk about here after this. But, man, that fucking last stage. I was mentally trying to prepare myself for the last stage, and it was hard. So essentially what happens is you're in military school up until the last stage, and by the time you get to the last stage, you're now a military officer, and your one and only mission is to rescue officials from the White House, which has been overrun by thugs. If you get touched once, you die and the game is over. Like, you don't get continues or anything. So getting runs to that last stage was the real grind, and then you had to beat the last stage, which was also very difficult. So it's not a game I probably recommend anyone. I remember seeing BBH do it, and I was like, wow, this is such a bad meme. Yeah, you have no weapons at the last stage. It's just your fists and your feet. That's one of the other issues. You had to be really creative to get to beat some of those dudes. So yeah, the last stage, I remember seeing it and thinking to myself, I think I could do this. I don't know if I want to do it, but I thought I could do it. And it took at least a whole stream of attempts, but I did get there. But the last stage is definitely like the run. Everything prior to that is just stuff you can just do. So yeah. Not a great game though. I would not call it a particularly good game. Since I brought up track and field, I will talk about track and field. Track and field's sweet. I also cleared Konami 88, which is not the same as 88 games. But no, track and field was great. The shot put was pretty difficult, but I would rank it probably fairly high. I think it's above all these even. Probably even above those. Yeah, I think overtops the bar to clear in B. So yeah, I'll put track and field there, and then Konami 88's definitely worse, but still good. Where is it though? There it is. It was a little bit lower. I think I like Konami 8 a little bit less than Avenging Spirit and probably Sly Spy, so we'll throw it right there. Now that I think about it, I think I'm going to move Ganru up to S. I reserve the right to change that back, but for now. Played a Korean bootleg fighting game called SD Fighters, which is a very unfortunate name. I think it stands for Super Deformed, and I apologize if I offended anybody by even mentioning that term, but not great. It's not a very good game. It was okay. Had easy strats. I cleared it. Probably belongs in D. It's not very good. There are probably games that I've ranked higher that are worse fighting games, but SD Fighters just had that whole unfortunacy thing going for it. What is that? I guess whatever this is, I'll talk about it next. Oh, Mutation Nation. Mutation Nation's gas. This one's tough, though. I don't know if this is an S. I think it's a high A. I think I liked it better than Oathsman, but not as much as Splatterhouse. Hang on. Arms. Different things going on. So Mutation Nation has a lot of upside. The things you can do in that game are really fun to do. You have all these really cool supers you can do just utilizing pickups. Combat feels really good. Like, if you're at the top of the bottom of the screen, you have a jab infinite that actually requires practice. Like, you have to, like, rhythmically tap it. Sometimes you do, like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, like, kind of like that. And you have to utilize that correctly against some bosses. Because the boss fights in that game, if you don't fight them as they're supposed to, are pretty ruthless. Music slaps. It's very much an SNK game, that's for fucking sure. I mean that in both good and bad ways. The downsides, if you want to once-see it, it's incredibly memorization heavy. Like, there are some segments where it feels like you just... I'm not saying there's only one thing that works, but you have to have a plan and stick to it. It's kind of like, I'll spoil later for number 250 when I do the inevitable next one, Night Slashers. Night Slashers had a lot of memorization to it. Mutation Nation feels about the same, but I think Mutation Nation was just a more fun game. Visually, the game is very appealing. It has a bunch of really messed up looking apocalyptic stuff, like things that have been affected by toxic waste, cybernetic enhancements, all kinds of silly shit. The final boss is a complete meme unless you're trying to speedrun it. You can just stand in one place and jab him to death and the game is over, but he's the easiest thing in the run, and it feels like you earned your way there, because everything in the final boss rush before that is pretty tough to have to do all over again. But no, I very much enjoyed Mutation Nation. I only tried to revisit it once. I played it once for Halloween Horror, and that didn't go well. I think I lost the credit on stage 6 out of 8, and haven't tried it since. But no, it's a good one, just a really hard one. Can't see what this is. Monster Bash. Monster Bash is good. Another looping game. I got one loop of it initially, then went back later to get 2 loops. Put it above Outfoxies. I think it deserves to go there. It was a game I learned for October because it's extremely Halloween themed. It's worth messing around with. It's a fun game. You basically have to beat some of the bigger monsters in history. You know, there's Dracula, there's Frankenstein, there's like, I can't remember if it was Lizard Man or who the third one was, but Medusa maybe, I can't remember, but you have to like collect items that let you beat them, and it's fun. It's a cool game. Hang on a second. So this is weird. Earlier I talked about Diraku Tenshi, and I think oh, this is the wrong game. Okay, but I will talk about that one next. This is Diraku Tenshi. That goes right about there. So this is Golden Axe Revenge of Death Adder, which is another game I put in A. I don't know how it compares to Mutation Nation. I think I like it a little bit less because it's longer. Mutation Nation clocks in right at around 30 minutes. Golden Axe Revenge of Death Adder is closer to 40. It does have more freedom of expression. You do have more things you can do. There's a lot more busted stuff. Well, maybe not, because like, while mounts are completely absurd, particularly the Bone Dragon. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with Bone Dragon. It may or may not be as busted as like the supers you can do in Mutation Nation. That's probably to taste. But I like the strats in both. I believe I learned Golden Axe Revenge of Death Adder with Stern. Bad Rito picked that one up later and I found a bunch of cool stuff for I forgot the character's name, but it was the Giant, the big character that Gimli's like hanging off the back of. That dude has some tech, and I showed it to him and I was like, you should try this, and he got a no miss the next day, and we both laughed about it. But no, Revenge of Death Adder is awesome. It has some really weird tech that I've not seen in other games. For example, when I got to the final boss fight, if you reach Death Adder while on a mount, even though the mount despawns, it still retains properties of the mount that force the boss to not have this many iframes, which is really weird to try to comprehend, but I practiced it that way and practiced it the other way, and that's effectively how it works. Really weird that would turn out that way, but no, I think it was interesting in that regard. But no, Golden Axe Revenge of Death Adder, good game, but I think it's a little bit longer than it needs to be. I think a sweet spot would have been like sub 30. but it clocks in right around 40 minutes for an average run, so... oh, I know what that is. I mentioned sports games earlier. Let's talk about one-on-one government. One-on-one government is really fucking weird. Think basketball, but it has fighting game mechanics. Like, you can steal the ball using, like, foot sweeps and shit. Like, it's weird. Plus, there's a playable monkey. I didn't play as him. I played as, like, a Horong analog. But, it was okay. It was fine for a 1/1cc. I also owe, all the props to Stream Hatman for the strats for that game. I'd believe that. That's probably a great mystery tournament game, too. I actually didn't like it as much as Fighting Vipers, so I'll probably put it back there. It's, like, pretty close with Last Bronx. It's, like, probably right around there. Debating if I want this one to be an S tier. I think this is an S tier. I'll come back to that one later. I don't know what this is. Oh, okay, so we'll talk about the Dragon Ball Z games. Is that what this is as well? Nope, that's something completely different. I'll talk about that one after that. So, I cleared 3 DBZ arcade games during this block, one of which was Dragon Ball Z. It's a fighting game. Came out in 1993. It was okay. I think I played as Piccolo, and you just fly around and you have busted normals. No, I played as Birder, sorry, not Piccolo. They're both alien-looking dudes. I'm not a Dragon Ball Z fan, so I'm gonna miss out on that kind of stuff. It was okay. It was really easy, and it's a sub-15 run, so it's okay. It's like, I think I like it a little bit better than like your typical C game, just because it's so easy to teach. But probably down here in B. A Dragon Ball Z 2, aka Super Battle, was quite a bit more fun, and you got to play as Vegeta. Vegeta is actually a DBZ character that I appreciate and respect, because he's basically Kazuya from Tekken, but in Dragon Ball Z. It had more interesting strats, and it was more fun. I placed it a little bit higher than B, but not by too much. Probably here above Konami 88. I don't think it was as interesting of a grind as like Sly Spy or Avenging Spirit, but it was still serviceable. This is the other game I was going to talk about. Oh, I forgot about the other DBZ game. Dragon Ball Z VR Versus. Not a good game. That game is much, much worse. I think that actually might... I think it's a little bit better than a D because it's at least interesting. But the final boss, to me, this day still does not make any fucking sense at all. I managed to beat it, but I don't think I've done it a second time. But yeah, it goes here in like the low C. I'd probably try to do more loops with Tron before I learn that. Actually, no, it's above Combat School. Yeah, I think Tattoo Assassins is a little bit more serviceable, but... So this is the other game I was going to be talking about. This is called... I never remember the full name of this game. It's a long one. It's another minigame fest. Taisen Tanto R Sashi Su. This is another game I actually had to grind at least 3 separate times. They were shorter grind attempts, but I just could never pull it together until the very last one when I finally got it. It's like a high C. I think I put it there. It's okay. There's better minigame fests, but it's okay. That's what I'm considering for S. I'll get back to that later. This one I'm not considering for S. Let's talk about Guardians. So, I cleared Denjin Makai in my first 100. Guardians is the sequel to Denjin Makai. And it vastly improves on Denjin Makai's formula in many ways. The music is better. The animations are better, because let's be real, the animations in Denjin Makai are pretty clunky and leave a lot to be desired. The combat is significantly better. For a lot of good reasons, but also unfortunately to a fault. So here's the thing about Guardians. Guardians has a rank system. The rank system is not based on necessarily how well you're doing, like how quickly you're progressing through the game, or menial things like maybe how many credits you spent, but like, it's hard to explain, but the way it was explained to me by Scuddy, and all the props to Scuddy for the strats here, the game ranks up with how well you know the game's combo system, which is a problem because the combo system in that game is incredibly fun. Like, your bread and butters, you can do so much fun, cool, crazy shit in that game, but the game makes you pay for it if you're not going to be able to do it consistently, and they tell you to pipe the fuck down, and they just beat you up for it. So, learning how to play that game in a way that felt toned down felt kind of off. Like, I didn't love that about it. Still a serviceable game, but that was something pretty glaring about it that made me think, like, do I really want to replay this? Because I got the clear with Skullbuel, and Skullbuel is by far the easiest character to clear with. Like, he has great combos, but not only do you not have to do them, you can just push buttons for the most part, and things just die. His damage output is so ridiculously high, and he's very mobile for a guy his size. Like, a guy who hits that hard should not be as quick as he is. He has really good jump capability. His dash attack is busted. Like, it's completely busted. It's a fucking roll that's a launcher. So it low profiles a ton of stuff. He's incredible character. And the cool thing is that game has like 7 or 8 characters, and most of them are viable. I think there's maybe like 1 or 2 that like most people just who are well versed in that game don't recommend. We don't know who. Talk to Scuddy. I can't remember specifically, but Skullbuel is by far the best character. He's the best for learning it as a 1cc the first time if you're not trying to be technical and you just want to do easy stuff. That said, the rank system does make me think a little bit less of it, and the last stage is kind of fucked. So I think Guardians and High B is about right. I would probably play eSWAT again before Guardians, but I did like Guardians. Well, no, I think I like Undercover Cops a little bit better, but it's close. They both have their flaws. On the more Scuddy games, Warrior Blade. Warrior Blade, also known as Rastin Saga 3. Kind of awesome. It was used a 6-player screen, a la Konami's X-Men. Only had 3 characters, but the scope of the game was interesting. It also, despite being a beat-em-up, has some mechanics that don't really lend it to being a beat-em-up. Specifically by that, I mean that there are segments of enemies that you can just skip entirely just by running past them. Like, you don't even have to interact with them. There are some auto-scrollers. You do have to mess with enemies in that, but then there are just traditional, like, side-scrolling, stages with belt-scrolling mechanics, where you just can just ignore enemies completely and just run right past them. And you're not incentivized to attack them either. You don't get to level up in that game or anything, so if you're just trying to speedrun the game, the speed is just run past everything and go for the boss. It's viable. Boss fights are tricky. If I remember correctly, it's a 1-life game, and there are definitely some bosses that can give you pretty bad RNG if you're not prepared. So it's still a good game. I think I'd put it... Honestly, I think the uniqueness of it makes me think it's probably a low A. I actually think very highly of Warrior Blade. This is the poster, right? Yeah, there it is. It also has 2 great characters. Both Rastin and Sonya, I think her name is, are both very good. The dwarf, whatever his name is low tier. Like, you just don't even fuck with him unless you want a challenge run. I think I liked it better than Aliens US, but not better than Champion Wrestler, so I put it here. It's a game I've actually considered revisiting just to try to get better at the speedrun. Sophia, thank you, thank you. While we're talking about games with characters named Sophia, let's talk about Battle Arena Toshinden 2, which I cleared with Sophia, whose name is spelled with an F, not a PH. Toshinden 2 was pretty fun. That one took me a while to get running. I couldn't get that game running in MAME for anything. I don't know why. I believe it was... I forgot who the developer for the game was. I also don't believe the first one ever came out in arcades. Takara, that's right. So, Tamsoft Takara, but worldwide, the arcade version... Sorry, Tamsoft was the Windows 95 developer. Back to the console and arcade version. Even though Takara was the primary publisher, it was distributed worldwide by Capcom, which is weird because it doesn't play like a Capcom game, but I guess they wanted to have their name on it just so people would play it, which I think worked. I actually think Battle Arena Toshinden 2 is better than the first one for a number of reasons. It is a shame the first one never made it to arcades. I would have liked to mess around with it. I played it on PlayStation a little bit. It's okay. The second one's definitely better. Like, way better. Toshinden 2, the strats mainly are pretty cheap. Sophia's crouching A, I believe, is a long-range whip attack that is a very good poke, and that game has ring out, so you can sometimes just bullshit interrupt stuff, and the AI doesn't really know what to do with it. There were a couple hard fights. The two boss fights were really difficult. Uranus and Master were pretty tough, and Ellis, the little pixie girl, she's fucking awful. Like, if she has meter, you have to hold block because her super, she'll just do it as an input read, and it does a lot of damage. And it's like an attack grab too, so it's all guaranteed. Outside of that, not too bad. There is one meme that I want to point out, though. This has always been my favorite meme in the game. So, growing up, one of my closest friends actually had Toshinden 2 on PlayStation. We played the fuck out of it. And there's a character in the game named Chaos. Actually, I'm going to try again. Who, when you ring out in that game, you, like, scream. And Chaos's ring out scream is one of my favorite things in video game history, and I just have to listen to it. It's been a while. I just want to hear it. The noise he makes when he gets a hit out of the ring is like one of my favorite things in video games, so I'm just gonna show it off. That will never not make me laugh. It's so good. Oh god, it's so good. It's one of those things I'll never understand why I think it's so funny, but it's just it's so wonderful for how stupid it is. Dude just screams his ass off. He doesn't know what the fuck to say. It's just nothing but gibberish. But yeah, Toshinden 2 is a classic. Gameplay-wise, like, it's fine. There are better 3D fighters, but there are definitely worse ones, too. I think it's like a mid-B. I think Fighting Vipers was a bit more engaging just due to speed. I think I liked it better than 101 Basketball. 101 Government, though. Someone probably had my head for that, but that's fine. It's my list. Oh, I know what that is. I don't know what this is. Oh, Ring Rage. Ring Rage is so dumb. So Ring Rage is a wrestling game, and it's an unfortunate game. It is full of some of the worst stereotypes you'll ever see, so that makes it hard to recommend. The gameplay is terrible, but some of the gameplay stuff is really funny. Particularly, like, the screams when opponents get thrown out of the ring is really funny. They just kind of do their way out of it, and it's really stupid and goofy, but I don't know. It's still a pretty low rating just because, like, again, some unfortunacy, and the gameplay is really, really bad. Probably actually worse than Combat School. Like, it's not a 1cc I'd recommend over Combat School. It's one I would play again, though, so I guess I'm ranking higher for that. I'd play it over VR Versus. Probably not before Tattoo Assassins again, though. In fact, I think I'm going to put Best of Best below both of those. So leave that there. This is... I think I know what that is. Is that Battle Circuit? No, Mock Breakers. Okay, so I'll talk about the Newman Athletics duo here. Newman Athletics was a very difficult game. I have definitely played harder games. It was, however, difficult for reasons I didn't enjoy. I'm finding the poster. There it is. So, Newman Athletics on a technical level was just really difficult. Like, the games where you had to mash, I felt like I was going to wear out my arm from how much I had to mash, and I think that was a little bit too demanding. Now, granted, the game was not designed to be played on a lever. It was using giant buttons, so you got to do this instead. So having to do this there, like, I'm used to doing that, but you had to do it for very prolonged periods of time. And sometimes, like, by the time you got to the really precise stuff, like the jump between the two buildings, hardest minigame of the game, in my opinion, it wore on you. Like, it was an endurance test, and not one I would ever revisit. But I would still never call it a bad game. It's very endearing. Sharon's a wonderful character. Like, how can you not love Sharon? Sharon's awesome. And shoutouts to Flannel Cat for the emote based on Sharon as well, because this emote's great. I love it. I love it so much. I still think Newman Athletics is worth a B. But due to the physical endurance required, I think it's a bit lower than quite a few of these. I put it below oh no, it can't be worse than Monster Bash. I think I put it below Slash Spy, though. Mock Breakers, the sequel, is a lot more forgiving, and it had a lot more going for it, except for the fact that you couldn't play as Sharon. Sharon's awesome. We love Sharon. But it is a better game, for sure. A lot more forgiving in terms of the execution. There's a lot more fun stuff going on. I think I'd put it above Nightmare in the Dark, actually. It's just a strictly better sequel. On the subject of games that have sequels, the JoJo's games... I have nothing against JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as a competitive game. I think it's very interesting. But as 1cc pursuits, Venture and Bizarre Adventure were pretty bland. The Venture 1cc was a bit more interesting because Midler is hilariously good. She just throws cars at people. I think Combat School is a bit more engaging than those, so I think I put both those in C. They're definitely better games than a C tier, would have you believe, but as 1cc pursuits, bland, or whatever. It's both of them. So that was Bizarre Adventure, I think. Yeah, I should probably still watch JoJo's. Part of me wants to at least watch through the Stardust Crusaders chapter, which I think was season 3. Just too many memes associated with it. Is that it? I'm gonna check it one more time. Yeah, there we go. I'd put it a little above that, so yeah, like right there. Back to games that have sequels. Talk about the Mega Man fighting games. As baby's first 1cc's, Power Battles and Power Fighters are perfectly fine. But I honestly don't think they're very fun. They were fine to do to put on the resume, but as games themselves, eh. The Power Fighters having branching paths based on different chronologies of the game, or the series, is interesting, but they're just okay. I definitely put them above Combat School, but not much else. 2 is better than 1, for sure. But they're both pretty close to the same. Another game that spawned sequels, and talk about unfortunate. Let's talk about the Jackie Chan titles. So you have Kung Fu Master and Fists of Fire. I actually like Kung Fu Master as a 1cc a little bit better. Fists of Fire is definitely the better competitive game. It has more characters, like all 3 Jackie Chans are playable, and like it's just a more robust game, and I think it still sees Fightcade play even to this day. But the 1cc for the first one was, I think, a bit more fun. I think they're both only in like C though, but it's like high C. I'd probably put them both up here. Yeah. One really didn't differentiate itself that much from the other, so they're fine to be close together, I think. Not like Aliens JP and Aliens World, at least not for me. I think I know what that is. Yep, okay. So, Street Smart. Funny thing, the Arcade Expo 2 months ago was the first time I ever saw a cab for Street Smart. I was like, oh, hey, those do exist. Let's fucking go. I thought it was cool. Like, I had just actually never seen a cab of it in the wild, so I thought it was awesome that it was there. Now, Street Smart as a game, really clunky. I like the music. I actually like the music in Street Smart quite a bit. It tried to do something first. It was a fighting game that... It was fighting game and then it was like 1v1 style, but it was done in a belt scroller aspect. And there aren't a ton of games that have done that. I know there's one that quite a few people have cleared. BBH and Double have both done it. I can't remember the name of it though. Has a really sick name. Why do I not remember the name of this game? It's a game I haven't cleared yet. I'm gonna do a quick look at the B's and the D's. See if I can remember it. I can't remember it. But yeah, it was one of the first... No, it wasn't Knuckleheads. What's up, Thrash? It was not Caratina. I'm just thinking 1v1 style, but it was belt scroller. It also was not Violence Fight or Solitary Fighter. It was not those. Although those came out around the same time as Street Smart, so it was probably pretty close. Anyway, Street Smart, I think I'd put Street Smart also in like the high C. I think I liked it better than the other Jackie Chan games. The fights that were hard were real... Aggressors of Dark Combat, that's the one. Yes, thank you. That is exactly the one I was thinking of. So anyway, Street Smart, The hard fights were really fucking hard. The final boss was no joke. His attacks just had entirely too much priority, and then the third to last guy was really hard. Other than that, though, none of the rest of it was free, but the strats all felt acceptable. Like your attacks felt like when they were hitting, they just felt really good. I really like that. So for fighting games that were a bit different, that had beat 'em up mechanics, let's talk about Red Earth, aka Warzord. Red Earth is, I mean, it's a game I've known about for a long time. It was the first CPS3 game. It even predated Street Fighter 3. It was a fighting game that only had 4 characters, but it had a level up system, and you had like some kind of memory card that you could use to save your progress. I just did a level 1 clear, so you start from level 1. You can do level 32 clears where everybody's just completely overpowered and maxed out and everything, but I just did it because it was easier to load. It was interesting because, so it works out in a way like more like a beat 'em up would. Passwords, thank you, sorry. So it was still a way to save your progress. And the game was ambitious because there wasn't really anything prior to that that had really done that to that scale. Like, Capcom really wanted to push what they could do with CPS3. To this day, I still don't think the visuals are that far above CPS2, but Street Fighter 3 and JoJo's would definitely change that. But anyway, as a 1cc pursuit, I actually think it has a lot more to offer as a one-player game than most Capcom fighting games, just because of how the fighting system works overall. That said, the strats are kind of tedious, but Mei Ling is really, really good, so that was cool. Plus, like, what's weird is the other 3 characters that are playable have all been in other games. Mei Ling is the only one that's never been reused. So you had Leo, who was in Capcom Fighting Evolution. You had Tessa, who's been in a few games. She was in Gem Fighters Mini Mix. She was in SVC Chaos, and at least one other one I can't remember. And then Keiji, I think his name was also in Capcom Fighting Evolution, the ninja character. And Mei Ling just never got reused. She was good for the 1cc, though. That said, I think I'd put Red Earth probably somewhere in the B. I think I liked it more than Second Impact and Third Strike, but definitely not above New Generation as a 1cc game. Probably about right there. I liked it better than One-on-One Government, but not Fighting Vipers of Toshinden 2. Let's get back to some bad. Rise of the Robots. Not a good game. Like, really, really, really not a good game. The 1cc was very tedious. You have one really good button, you get to jump with it. Music in that game, fire. Unfortunately, the only music track in the game plays the intro. There's no music in any of the stages. But the soundtrack that actually has real music was composed by Brian May of Queen, so the guitar is excellent, but you just don't get to hear much of it. But the gameplay itself, I mean, the console ports are legendarily Kusuge, and the arcade version is not much better. So it gets down here. I don't think it's F tier. I would play it before I played Holosseum. Holosseum is horrible. I just don't think I could ever rank any games I have in the F tier. Like, if I've 1cc'd it, I can't just give it an F, you know? That just doesn't feel correct to me. Sounds like when we ran Eternal Champions for one of ours, Jetta's Infinite was discovered very quickly. Oops. Yeah, Rise of the Robots is not good, but there are worse games. Can't quite tell what that is. Oh, did I have the poster for both Red Earth and Warzord? Hang on. Is that actually Warzord? Maybe it wasn't. No, it's Battle Circuit. Okay, totally different. I got those mixed up. They're both Capcom games, so forgive me. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think a whole lot of Battle Circuit. Some people might yell at me. I'm good for that. I have my reasons. It is the last Capcom beat 'em up. Particularly their last arcade beat 'em up. I think it suffers a little bit for a couple of things. For one, it suffers a bit too much from like being the opposite of all killer, no filler. Leveling up in that game is critical because you want to expand your moveset, and get health ups and things like that. And like, I don't know. I don't love having that in my beat 'em ups, and I never have. Unless you unlock something really busted, which in this game it never really felt like you did. Maybe some characters that I didn't play, but that was one of my problems with it. And the other problem was that some of the boss fights were just fucking awful to have to learn. The stage 3 boss, that fucking mech that walks around on all 8s. Not even close to the hardest boss in the game, and I still hated it. Like, it was just not a fun boss fight. It's just this thing that moves along the Z-axis with armor all the time, and sometimes just be like, oh, cool, you're here, I get to hit you. It just wasn't fun. And, the stage, not the last stage, but next to last stage boss, I think his name was Zutapa, or Zupapa. That fight was absurd. By far the hardest boss fight in the game. That fight took so much fucking practice. Even playing Alien Green, I used Alien Green for the run, who has really good grapple maneuvers, but he doesn't really expand his moveset much. His big gimmick is that he has a move that lets him heal. You can jump and hit both buttons and spin the stock to heal part of your health bar, so he tanks a lot. Straight I learned from BBH. But yeah, like, Battle Circuit as a game, like, it definitely has its upsides. I just don't love it. I wanted to like it more than I did. I thought it was just... I think out of all the Capcom beat-em-ups I've cleared, it's probably my least favorite. And that's across, like, all of them. Punisher, Battle Circuit, Final Fight, King of Dragons. It's my least favorite of any of those. I think I put it in low B. It's definitely better than, like, most of these games that didn't require much of a grind, like Map Mania. I put it even above Outfoxy's. Probably above Monster Bash. Yeah, I didn't like it as much as these racing games even. Yeah, I just don't love Battle Circuit. I really wanted to love it too. I beat it, I didn't even get the good ending, even though I thought I had enough points to do it, but I still got the credits roll, and I'm just like, I'm good, and I have not revisited it since. Not a bad game at all. It definitely has its fans. There are people, there's at least one content creator who has once seen it with every character multiple times over. Hey, what's up, Bad Rito? Yeah, I'm all for people liking it. It's just, it's just not really for me. I would never call it a bad game. It's just not one I enjoy as much as I would like to. Onto a game that I'm definitely putting an S tier, and I might get yelled at for this because this is probably a worse game than Battle Circuit, but I really don't care. Let's talk about 64th Street: A Detective Story. This game fucking rules. It has great music, it has great memes, you can throw enemies into the wall like it's Batman Returns SNES. Fucking, I love 64th Street. Some caveats. Some of the boss fights are miserable. The dudes in drag, oh my god, those fights are so awful. The 1v1 is bad and the 1v2 is significantly worse. Oh, he says, this like, Durr, or whatever. My favorite was, I had this going as a meme. I actually played it as I finished the game in one stream. It took me like 2 hours to get the 1cc. It's not a hard 1cc. When you kill an enemy, I said it sounded like he says wool, like sheep. And I think it was Paulie who said, I'll never hear him say anything other than wool ever again. And I was like, I completed my mission. The only downside to it is I think it's a bit longer than it should be. It does not need to be a 40-minute game, but the upsides are real. The combat feels so fucking good. Like, the grapple system in that game is just dope.
Wouldn't that be something?
Like, I want to hear it just once.
I feel like if that were the case...
I've also never played Alan and don't know anyone who's ever played Alan. He's player 2.
People would play this game.
Like that fucking scream when you kill a dude. Hear that and don't hear wool.
That's one of them there, on the clock numbers.
The music's like serviceable. It's flavorful and it's weird and... Durr! Yeah, that shit's great.
You know, everybody does their thing at 6:09 every day.
The meme was 69th Street. Because, you know, it's nice.
6:09, time to go to 69th Street.
That throw into the back wall is so good. Another good thing, doing a punch into short hop punch, real fucking good. Like, really, really, really good. It was a combo extender. It wasn't like a true infinite, but it basically just pushed your damage super duper hard. Like I love 64th Street. Everything about that game felt good to play. Like the weapon system was good. Like even a wrench was like a good weapon. Yeah, I like 64th Street a whole fucking lot. Probably more than most people. Like I think it's worthy of S tier, even though I never revisited it. But it's like low end S tier. There are some things I didn't enjoy. I mentioned the boss fights I didn't like. The fucking train stage sucked. Stage 3, I think, where like you're on the end train caboose and you don't have an opportunity to heal until you like deboard. That shit sucked. That shit was not fun. But overall, though, yeah, 64th Street, a detective story, sleeper, absolute sleeper. Jalico delivered big time with that one. Let's go from the end. Kabuki Z. Kabuki Z is really weird. It was one of the last games I 1cc'd before I took a really long break. From like September 2022 to January 2023, I didn't stream for like 4 months. Before anyone asks, real life stuff, no, I don't want to talk about it. Whatever it is, and it is whatever, it's long over now. But it was real then, and we're here now. Kabuki Z was, I mean, it's a beat 'em up in like most terms. It's a belt scroller. It has weapon combat. You can kind of compare it to Takeda Shingen, but Takeda Shingen is a lot more interesting. The back attack in that game is sick, but that's for another time. That's in 201 to 300. Kabuki Z was interesting though. The later stages are kind of whack. Just tons of enemies with it felt like no end in sight. I'd probably go high C. I think I liked it better than Street Smart, but not by a whole heck of a lot. Toy Fighter. Toy Fighter's really bland. It's a Naomi era fighting game. I think it was a Sega release. I believe it came out on the Dreamcast, but only in Japan, but that could be wrong. I know it didn't come out in the US. Pretty bland game. It has a grapple system. Like, you grab enemies, then you can do stuff to them, and that's how you win. Like, grabs in that game are just super duper cheap. So you hope to, and it also has a point-based system. Like, think like Olympics, like, oh, I got a grab, I got 2 points and I need 5, you know. Get another grab, oh, I got 2 more points, I have 4 now. Now I can knock him down however I want, I win. And that was pretty much the whole run. It's alright. It's interesting because it has a lot of stuff that other games don't, but as a game itself, it has a good speed run. The speed run's really, really short. I'd rank it below quite a few of these, though. It's going in C. I probably liked it better than Time Killers. Yeah, right about there sounds correct. You know, I did not know that. Which I never did play Fighter's Destiny. I knew it existed. It got pushed a lot in Nintendo Power. The 7 games in S. Wherever this is, I'm talking about it next. Can't tell what it is. Oh, Astro Superstars. Astro Superstars is sick. I meant to talk about this when I was talking about Dragon Ball Z stuff. It plays a lot like the DBZ1 fighting game. Astro Superstars actually had a Saturn release, home port. The arcade version's pretty fun. It's air combat, like it's a fighting game, but like you are actually floating the whole time, so you have to like move up and down. Think like, what was that game? Psychic Force, Fight Psychic Force, but not in a 3D cube. It's just 2D. But the tech was good. The character you used had like a really good string that could cause a ground bounce, or it could confirm to super pretty easily. Like, yeah, it was good. It's fun to play too. I've done it for 1cc Redemption, and I thought it was fun, but I haven't revisited it since. I'd probably put it in B though. I liked it better than quite a few of these. I liked it better than Last Bronx, better than 101 Government. Better than Warzord, yeah. Probably better than Deshinden 2. A little bit better than Fighting Vipers. Actually, yeah, I think it's going a bit higher than even I would have thought. Definitely better than Outfoxies. Even the first time. Over Monster Bash? Yeah, I think so. Goes above Konami 88. I think Newman Athletics is the stopping point. So right about there. Alright, from the very end, we've got Surf Planet. Surf Planet was fun for one stream. 3D surfing game, snowboarding game. Similar to Cool Borders, but it was an arcade game. Had really cool music. Like, it actually had, like, licensed music tracks in the arcade. Had to learn the route. Like, there was a lot of stuff I had to memorize, as you do with most sports games, but I liked it. I'd go low B on it. I think I like DOA plus a little bit better, but other than that. Alright, left to right. WWF Superstars. Definitely a game I was happy to 1cc because I got it off my back forever. Not a very enjoyable game. There are a number of strats that work. You pretty much have to go for count-out strats because Andre the Giant is a fucking nightmare. Like, you can't ever hope to pin that guy. Big Boss Man was who I used for that. His shoulder tackle had a ton of priority. So you basically what you do is you get him outside, and you just shoulder block them until they are going to get counted out. Then you get back in the ring and you win. And I had to do that 8 times in a row. Fairly tedious. There were definitely some moments where I felt like I was going to lose the run just because things weren't lining up. It's a game I have a lot of nostalgia for, but I wouldn't call it good. It used the Double Dragon engine, so like there are people that have like made Beats of Rage versions of Double Dragon that include characters from WWF Superstars as playable characters, which is really fun to watch sometimes. Like having Andre fight a Bobo is a thing. You can do that. Overall, though, the cat-out strats are tedious. There's a reason I didn't do them for WrestleFest, and I did Royal Rumble instead, so I think I still put it above a few of these in C, but it's still very much a C. Castle of Dragon is a bad video game, but it's a great speedrun. So I think that leaves out of the D category. It's very jank. Even when I watch that game, watch it, play it, whichever, very few things in that game while I'm observing it make sense to me. But it exists, and I don't hate the fact that it exists. So I'm fine with that. I still go low C for it, but probably a bit higher than quite a few of these, just because the speed run is just tremendous, but it's a lot of practice. Like, it's an intense speed run for sure. I probably put it above best of best. Which one was this? After Tattoo Assassins, Ring Rage. I think I like Ring Rage a little better than Castle Dragon. This is Fighting Lair. Fighting Lair has the meme of fighting a fucking shark. It was also my follow-up to Battletoads, so got that going for it, I guess. Fighting Lair was okay. It's a 3D fighting game. Final boss fucking sucked. That guy was annoying. He had Vega wall dives, and you just really didn't have any answers to him, but to just keep him pinned. Hope you get your anti-airs off. It's like a high C. I didn't enjoy it as much as either of these. I think I liked it a little bit better than the Jackie Chan games, though. I understand some people probably think I'm ranking Jackie Chan a bit low. There are non-game reasons for that, but, it's like, I don't know. Like, I just don't think much of the Jackie Chan titles. It's cool for those that do. I just don't. Sports Jam was okay. It kind of has the same problems Newman Athletics did. There were definitely segments where you had to mash like there's no tomorrow, and it felt really bad to do. Particularly in the track events, like 100-meter dash or whatever. You had to mash a fuck ton in that. Like, through the second half of it, you're just... It's like this for like 40 seconds. It feels really bad. Overall, though, it's pretty easy, as long as you can get it set up in a Naomi emulator. I feel like it's pretty low, though. Probably, like, right there. Yeah, I think I like Toy Fighter a little bit better, but flip a coin, I guess. Burning Rival was really silly. I would rank it probably in the high C just for that. Below... Actually, I like it a little better than Street Smart. And a little better than Kabuki. Yeah, I'll put it on top of C. That's fine. Samurai Showdown 5 Special, which to this day is the only Sam show I've cleared. The others are all just really fucking long. I want to get to them. I especially want to clear Samurai Showdown 3 and 4. I've put time into them in the past. They haven't worked out. Hopefully one day. Anyway, SS5 Special is just... It's short. It's the only reason I did it. There's not really much to say about it. It was kind of like the Mega Man Power games. Just wanted to put it on the list. So I think that's about where it goes, right around there with those. Final Blow is interesting. I actually like Final Blow a lot. Once I learned how the tech in that game worked, like once you get them against the ropes, oh man, you could do some seriously heinous shit. It does get pretty tough, but not overwhelmingly so. I think B is correct for Final Blow, and I'd probably make it above quite a few of these. maybe right below Battle Circuit. Battle Circuit was more worthwhile grind. I got Final Blows 1cc in like an hour and a half. It didn't take long. Similarly, Grudge Match has a very similar strat, but it's not nearly as fun. Grudge Match is a wrestling game, full, huge 3D ring. Your sprites are very small. The idea is you get them against the ropes, you keep kicking them, and they can't win. It's kind of sluggish, but it's short. I played again before Superstars, though, so it probably goes right about there. Ninja Kids. I've played Ninja Kids a lot. Ninja Kids has a similar problem for me that Outfoxies does, although I don't think as low as I think about as Outfoxies. Ninja Kids was really fun when I first learned it. It has some really busted shit, so for some reason in that game, they program your jumps to be invincible. I don't know whose idea that was, but it's really busted, like, real busted. All you have to do is jump and enemies can't hit you, which is really messed up, like really, really messed up. It also lets the best character get away with a ton of shit that he probably shouldn't otherwise, because his weapon is throwing stars, so he's the only character that gets projectiles, which means he's pretty much by default the easiest and safest character to 1cc with. And his jump attack, short hop specifically, has downward arcing throwing stars that just clip enemies. So you're just jump, rain, jump, rain, jump, rain, and it's really effective. That said, the last stage is really unfun, particularly the portion in the graveyard. That one spot in the game makes me not want to play it. It's not the last part of the game, but it's like the third to last segment, and it can just drain any extra lives that you've taken. The Shredder wannabe fight in Stage 4 is also pretty bad. I have only no-missed that fight once. Every time before that, I either died naturally or the clock ran out, and one time that somehow didn't happen, and I was amazed. I still would like it more than I would like to enjoy it more than I do, but as is, I think I just have to give it a high B. I think it deserves a higher grade than some of these, just because of how much more time I put into it. I don't like it as much as Nightmare in the Dark. Wait, what game is this? Oh, Mock Breakers. Yeah, I think Mock Breakers is a better game than... better 1cc than Ninja Kids, for sure. Best Bout Boxing. It has strats. I don't really have a lot of great things to say about it. It's perfectly fine. Probably in the B somewhere. When you hit somebody in that game, it looks really, really good, though. I'll say that much. It's another one that would be fun to do for a mystery tournament. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I like it a little bit better than Red Earth just because it's short, but not as much as Byronian Shinden 2. Cyberstorm's pretty not great. It's, I think, an Atari fighting game. I don't even think it got released. I think it was just a prototype. I probably put above Combat School, but not much else. The last two games are bangers. One goes at S tier, and the other goes in A. And I think I like Gonru better than both of them, so that tracks. RoboCop 2... I love RoboCop 2, the video game. Believe it or not, I've never seen the movie. I've only seen the first RoboCop. RoboCop Arcade 1cc is really hard, though. Back on track. RoboCop 2 is a game I very much enjoy. The strats are really fun. It has pretty good melee and gun combat, although really the only good melee combat is the throw system, but it's good. Quite good. I think it's deserving of, probably not in the top 10, but I would go probably like top 16. Actually, I think I'm going to peg 3 down. 3, I think, goes right around here, and I think it's worse than E-SWAT, so it goes right about here. So how do I feel about it compared to the rest? I think I like it better than, I definitely like it better than Aliens US. I like it better than Warrior Blade. I like it better than Champion Wrestler. I like it better than Osman. I didn't enjoy it as much as a grind compared to Revenge of Death Adder. And what was this? Oh, Mutation Nation. I think Mutation Nation's better. I think right about there is correct. And that just leaves number 200, which was Violent Storm. This game was not only an awesome 1cc, but it was also, like, in a way, kind of a return to form for me. Like, I had been gone for streaming for so long. And I came back and I just 1cc 3 or 4 games in a row and then did this for number 200. It's a game that I've been wanting to do for quite some time, and it was well worth it. Violent Storm does have its downsides. Where am I going to place it? I don't like it better than either Vendetta version, either Vendetta or Crime Fighters. I don't like it as much as Neo Turf Masters. I do like it better than 64th Street, but I think I like Gondor a little bit better, so I think right about there is correct. Violent Storm does have its downsides. The Julius fight is fucking miserable. Whoa, that startled me. Yo, Poncho, thank you so much for the raid. That really caught me off guard. But yeah, so the upsides of Violent Storm, the music is fucking phenomenal. I still will listen to We Are Free just cause. The combat is largely good. It does have some issues. It feels clunky in parts. But Boris is pretty busted. Let's be real. Boris has a lot going for him. He's one of the stronger grapplers, I would say, in beat 'em ups. Like the strongest ever is probably Max in Streets of Rage 2. Other honorable mentions: Mess from Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, Boris for sure from Violent Storm. I would even argue Beanball Roger from Ninja Baseball Batman's very, very good. But yeah, Boris is absurd. His roll attack is good. I find it funny that he has this large plethora of throws, but his best throw is him just heaving his opponent at the ground like a bag of dirt. I just find that hilarious. I think that's about where it belongs, though. The final stage is kind of messy. The last two boss fights in particular just feel kind of gross. Geld is, I don't know, Geld was always so weird to me. That's one of those fights that feels like it can go one way or the other, and not in a way that feels comfortable, I guess. But, I think this looks right. I think those are my top 8, even though 2 of them can be the same game. People can come at me about that one, I really don't care. I do like Splatterhouse better than anything else in A tier, but they're all great. You could even argue that, like, I have both Aliens games here, and then in S tier, I think I like Aliens better than anything below it, and I definitely put Battletoads above anything else. Like, Battletoads was my favorite game of that 100 block, and it was amazing. Yeah, that's gonna be that.